Battle Royales were a once immensely popular genre in the gaming space, but as popular as the niche was, it was just as oversaturated. While many games flourished, such as Warzone and Fortnite, hundreds of other games tried and failed to reach the success that others had achieved. One that I remember vividly is Ubisoft's Hyperscape. A game with big ambitions, advanced streamer interaction, and honestly some really cool gameplay elements, Hyperscape had a lot going for it, but somehow it never really gained the traction that other games got. So what happened to Hyperscape? Before we get into it, if you like video essay style videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. I talk about video games on this channel, whether it's reviewing them or looking back on them, so if that interests you, subscribe. Also, if you like variety gaming content, feel free to check out the second channel for funny moments from games or reactions to other gaming content. Also, I hate to spoil the story, but Hyperscape isn't playable anymore, so I can't capture any gameplay for it. This means that a lot of the footage might be from various streamers or other channels who will always be credited in the corner of the video. Depending on how much footage I find, I might throw in some random Minecraft gameplay too. I'm sorry if it gets disorienting, but blame Ubisoft. So before we go into what happened to Hyperscape, we actually have to go back a bit further and talk about another game, Apex Legends. Apex was an immensely popular battle royale set in the Titanfall universe. While many battle royales were just additional modes into pre-existing games and had announcements with plenty of marketing behind them, Apex defied both of these tropes and dropped as an entirely new game with no announcement or marketing. All they said was that it was a battle royale in the Titanfall universe and it was enough to get people hooked. The shadow drop worked and people were lining up to get a taste of Respawn's new battle royale. The game seemingly exploded overnight. Now let's fast forward to August 11th, 2020. Ubisoft shadow drops Hyperscape, a new battle royale with a twist. Twitch viewers can effect events that happen in the live streamer's match. A new, fully fledged game from a big publisher with a unique flavor to it. From that description alone, Hyperscape sounded like a one-way ticket to $1 gazillion city for Ubisoft. But it didn't. Hyperscape dropped, and while some big-name streamers were given deals to play it and show off the game's stream interaction feature, nobody really played it. I remember downloading it day one, and it would take up to 5 minutes to fill a lobby. Ubisoft tried to do a sudden release like Apex, but it didn't work. Personally, I think it's because Apex already had the Titanfall community to fall back on if it did flop. Hyperscape was baseless, so it had to build its audience from the ground up. My other theory for why the game didn't take off was the stream interaction feature. Essentially, if you were watching someone live streaming the game, you would get the ability to vote in their chat for an event to occur in-game. While it sounds phenomenal on paper, in practice, you've just created a feature that affects like 10% of the player base. Look at it this way. If you're watching Tfue stream, you're most likely not playing the game because you're watching him instead. So that's one way the system doesn't really affect you. But the other thing is, how often are you going to get into a big streamer's game, especially when you wouldn't know until something wacky happened? And in a player base of let's say 10,000, maybe only like 50 of them will be streamers with a big enough audience for a vote to work properly. My point is, one of the biggest selling points of the game rarely ever happened to the average player. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm complaining about it and discussing why it failed before I even explain the game itself. So as we've mentioned, it's a BR, but it had a huge focus on movement, even more than Apex in my opinion. There's also some influence of abilities and perks that some other games had brought into the genre, but in this game they were lootable, and honestly, they were pretty creative. I remember there was one ability that like put you in a ball and you could like move super fast and climb up walls and stuff and bounce around. It was super fun. And the weapon selection too, oh my god. The game had a minigun as one of the most popular weapons for floor loot. I'll admit the game was extremely creative compared to the rest of the BR scene. I also think that the lore was pretty cool. The game was set in like this underground virtual death pit thing where people would kill each other in a virtual world to get crowns, which was like a status symbol or something. It was pretty unique. But take a look at what I've been saying. Abilities, fast movement. This had all been done a year earlier by Apex. Hyperscape, while its features were interesting and different from the competition in context, in the grand scheme it wasn't all too special. I think another big reason the game didn't really take off is because there was this other little game that was just starting to pick up traction called Call of Duty Warzone, and it kind of overtook the entire BR scene and kind of eliminated all competition that ever existed. So Hyperscape was never really able to gain the traction that a lot of other games got. Ubisoft recognized this, and in April of 2022, they decided to shut the game down. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. I'll admit though, Hyperscape was a lot of fun. However, it just had no reason to keep players engaged. It wasn't like Apex, which innovated with its Titanfall movement, or Warzone with its custom classes. It was just another attempt at cashing in on the big gaming trend at the time, and unfortunately it didn't go as planned.